Hello everyone, here is the in-depth showcase of my new Hologram Shader, which is up for download on my Gumroad page now. I will be going over the different settings to show how they work, so you get a nice foundation to start making your own custom hologram effects. So let's get right into it. First of all, this effect is essentially in screen space, so no matter what direction we're viewing from, our camera will see the same thing. So if we go off the side, it will change. If we go up and down, everything is relative to the window. It stays attached to the camera, which is nice for a hologram effect. But as you can see, if we zoom in or zoom out, the scale changes based on how far we are from the object, so it's more logical and stays attached. And we have the option to enable our base shader, so we can essentially have another shader underneath, in this case a teapot, ceramic material, and if we want we can reduce this factor to have it holographic as well, to reduce the opacity up until the point where it's not visible anymore. For the showcase I will leave it on transparent so we can see the effect better. Here's the tint, so you can change the color to anything. And with strength controller, which is essentially just a multiplier, you can have a more subtle effect or very intense. Scale to scale the lines. And a Fresnel, so we can push the effect more to the edges or have it more averaged out to the center. So a Fresnel of 0 essentially has the same effect overall. If we increase it, it has the strongest effect on the edges and is very weak in the center. Then we have the window relative option. As I said, it changes based on the camera, but it scales based on how far we are, so it stays attached to the object. Window relative changes that. So here it's really just attached to the window, but we can set a limit. So as soon as we reach a certain distance, it will stop being attached to the camera and the screen and will start staying on the object. So we can increase the scale here to make it more logical. So here it changes based on the camera, but as soon as we have a distance of 10, it will stay attached to the object. This can be nice if you want a hybrid effect of being able to scale based on the camera, but also have a logical limit so it doesn't, if you set it to 0, so it doesn't scale indefinitely. So essentially setting it to 0 means there's no limit, but you would usually want a limit. For now we'll leave this off. Whoops. And scale this back. Here we have the small line settings, which are the horizontal ones. We can change the speed of the movement, disable this one now. We can make it slower or faster. Now we have very slow lines or really fast ones. We can change the angle, so they move in different directions. We can make them vertical, whatever you feel like. And this doesn't affect the big line, so if you take a look at the big line, just changes this angle so you can get very interesting effects. For the big line itself, we have a timing interval, so we changed the spacing, how often the line appears. If I reduce this now, we will get a lot more lines very frequently. We can change the width of the lines. Let me see. Yep. Can make it wider or more narrow. Of course we can just adjust the speed of the lines. We can change the fill, which is kind of how much the line is constrained to the small lines. So increasing the fill means we have like a fill color, which is one solid line, but you would likely want to keep it at a lower value to have like a nice blend. Keep it at 0.5. We can also change the angle of this line, so you can have it moving up, for example, with the small lines, or we just switch this around, have them go like this, whatever you feel like. I will go over the highlight first. It's a bit more simple. We have a sphere, which you can use to control the direction of our fake light, and the strength. So you can have like a nice highlight, which is also relative to the camera. So if we go around, it will always be on the top right side right now, like displayed in here. And we can rotate this around, have it come from the left, from the bottom, from the top, whatever you want. And now the glitching. Glitching distorts the lines in like different chunks. The speed of this is not relative to like the other speeds, it's just its own effect. And we can change how often those occur. So we can make the interval smaller so it glitches very often. We can change the duration, how long each glitch takes. Now it's very active for long. Then we have the intensity. We see that some parts are lighter. We can change the intensity of that. So some parts will be randomly made more lighter or darker, depending on your settings. If we don't want that, we just set this to 0 and will be just the distortion. Then there's the randomness, which controls how random the length of the glitch is and how often it occurs. So if we make it very random, it's like pretty arbitrary. Sometimes short flashes, quick flashes in succession, doesn't matter. If we disable the randomness, it will follow a pattern, like very rhythmically, tup, tup, tup. And of course we have a seed at the bottom here, which can change our pattern on demand if we would like a different pattern for some reason. Here we have different output options. Usually you would just want the shader, but for some cases you might just want to see the emission itself. Or the gradient. You can use the gradient to just control factors or whatever. It's just essentially the mask of our effect. Yeah, and that's kind of everything there is to it. This is a paid product because a lot of time went into it. So if you end up downloading it, feel free to give me some feedback so I can keep putting out nice effects in the future. Your support means a lot. But of course I will keep on releasing free effects for everyone to download and play with. Thanks everyone for watching. If you want to grab the effect, link is in the description. And feel free to comment what other effects you would like to see. I will either try to make a tutorial on it or release it as a asset like this.